Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This morning, let us explore the first of 5 passages of the meditation classic, composed by the great Buddhist reformer Prajvajra, titled The Great Potentiality. Together, let us recite. From the very beginning, the sphere of reality consists of everything that is outer and inner. In this dimension of original perfect purity, there is no distinction between the Buddhas and the merely sentient beings. I'm going to remove this needless preposition, and merely sentient beings. So, how could there be anything that needs to be corrected with paths and antidotes? But oddly enough, we're going to start at the end. I'm going to teach, as usual, from not only this teaching text, but from a set of visual aids. Both this teaching text and the visual aids are available as PDFs for free download. So, we can think of Buddhism thusly. There is institutional Buddhism, marked by its attendees cultivating, being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. And there is proto-Buddhism, much older and simpler, whose members are described as being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. In institutional Buddhism, they talk about gradual enlightenment, taking many lifetimes, requiring a period of time greater than the lifespan of 3 universes. Whereas in proto-Buddhism, the Buddha said, hey dude, you can master the path in as little as a week. That's pretty cool. So we have gradual versus sudden. And we return now to this morning's text. Whoops, I made a boo-boo. I failed to change pages. That's on me. Let me change that right now. Okay, so we have institutional Buddhism and we have proto-Buddhism. The members of institutional Buddhism are self-described as being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, and many of them think it's pretty awesome to be this way. Proto-Buddhism's members are described as being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Institutional Buddhism, which is all about power and control, talks about a gradual path whose duration is greater in length to that of 3 universes. Whereas in proto-Buddhism, the Buddha explained in the second to the last passage of the Discourse on the 4 Bases of Mindfulness that one could master this path in as little as a week. Bearing that in mind, the contrast between gradual and sudden enlightenment, let's return to this morning's teaching text. So how could there be anything that needs to be corrected with paths and antidotes? Now you might say, hey, isn't mindfulness and meditation itself an antidote? So let's explore that. Once again, we shall return to the teaching text. First, I'll tap button 9. and then I will hopefully tap this text right here. Okay. What is mindfulness and meditation? Well, mindfulness and meditation are the opposite of the concentration that relies upon our medial prefrontal cortex and the contemplation that relies upon our dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. When we overtrain the front of our brain, we cannot help but present with symptoms of depression, no less trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. Or, if you prefer their synonyms, cowardice and cruelty. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex constitutes the entirety of our central nervous system. Please consider the spinal cord. In its entirety, it's known as the autonomic nervous system. In days of yore, it was known as our Buddha nature. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we've evolved to automatically access the middle bit of the spinal cord known as the sympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. What then are we to do with that which we notice? Well, every time we exhale, we have evolved to automatically access the end bits of our spinal cord, just kind of like bookends on a shelf, which are known as our parasympathetic nervous system. This bad boy has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. All complex life forms have evolved to think symbolically. How does that apply to the understanding of Buddhism? Every time we relax into our exhalation, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. What is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. So we have a choice. Do we actively compete against our autonomic nervous system or passively cooperate with it? So there's nothing that needs to be forced. We're already wired during each inhalation to mindfully notice mind's antics, and during each exhalation to meditatively relax into mind's non-graspable nature. All we're doing in meditation, in mindfulness meditation, is passively cooperating with the systems that evolution already put into place. Now, for those of us who have been conditioned by society to be cowardly and cruel and competitive, that can seem like a tall order. Fortunately, all we gotta do is silently and mentally recite the verb watch during each inhalation, as well as silently and mentally recite the verb rest during each exhalation. And without even understanding how we're doing it, we're automatically cooperating with the autonomic nervous system that is so potent in helping us master the Buddha's Eightfold Path that it is nicknamed our Buddha nature. Bearing this in mind, let's return afresh to this morning's teaching text. From the very beginning, the sphere of reality consists of everything that is outer and inner. Minions of institutional Buddhism, minions of patriarchy, minions of yang will tell us that we must concentrate upon one thing or upon no thing, and noticing anything, external or internal, is a failure, and we must drag our awareness kicking and screaming to notice only our breath. But that is not what the Buddha taught. The Buddhas taught that the seventh fold of the Eightfold Path was mindfulness, that the first enlightenment factor was mindfulness, and that mindfulness is being vulnerable to whatever comes up, to whatever sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, to being vulnerable to whatever emotion, intention, thought, memory, or imagining comes up, whether that which we notice is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. Our job is not to pick and choose and sort and push and pull. Our job is just to notice and relax. In this dimension of original perfect purity, so what is meant by original perfect purity? As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever Buddha or non-Buddha we noticed during our previous inhalation could both melt into the simplicity of just an entity, regardless of what labels we apply to it. There is no physical difference between a Buddha and a non-Buddha. A Buddha is simply one who has gotten so good at the Eightfold Path that they are able to practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. As children, we found the prospect of potty training or learning how to use the toilet, learning how to brush our teeth, learning how to tie our shoes, learning how to ride a bike, an impossibility. But in time, we got so good at those things that we could do them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively by simply cooperating with our autonomic nervous system. We can effortlessly and automatically notice change, allow our choices, utterances, and deeds to flow from centered spontaneity, and experience heightened kindness of intention, communication, conduct, and even commerce. The Buddhist path is easy. All we have to do is step out of our own way. Having completed this morning's opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday morning. Come, Let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, let's play with mindfulness and meditation. I'm recovering from oral surgery, so ice water is my friend. The easiest way for us to keep track of our next 16 inhalations is for us to use the tip of our right thumb to touch various parts of our little finger. The first set of creases, the second set of creases, the third set of creases on the tip. We can do the same thing on each of our right hand's 4 fingers for a total of 16 inhalations. It takes less than 2 minutes to count 16 inhalations. If you prefer that your meditation session lasts at least 20 minutes or so, it could behoove us to use our left hand. So just as our right hand might count individual inhalations, it might behoove our left hand to count sets of 16 inhalations, counting each set similarly upon the creases and tips of each of our 4 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of 16 inhalations each. 4, 8, 12, 16 sets of 16 inhalations each for about 20 minutes or so. If you're ambitious and would prefer to meditate for more than 20 minutes, we can gather multiple collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. How could we keep track of them? We could rest to keep track of our first collection of 16 sets of 16 inhalations. We could rest the lower knuckle of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. To keep track of our second collection of 16 sets of 16 inhalations, we could simply slide the tip of our left index finger up to the second knuckle of our right index finger. And of course, you guessed it, for the third set, we could simply slide the left index finger up to the third knuckle, the little teeny third knuckle of our right index finger, all the while keeping your hands palms up in our lap. This might seem ungainly, but receive these instructions from me once every 12 hours or so, and within a week, it'll feel like old hat. If you are prone to arthritis, you may wish to adjust your legs once every 15 minutes or so. As you feel air enter your nostrils, we can silently and mentally recite watch. As we feel air exit our nostrils, silently and mentally we could recite the verb rest. Remember, the test of our mindfulness and meditation is not what we experience or how intensely we experience it. The test of our mindfulness and meditation is what we do with whatever comes up. Do we notice it vulnerably? Do we relax physically? Then everything's great. Persist with this and you will notice you become more and more empathetic and kind. Empathy and kindness are more than emotions, they are intentions, which means we can be kind even when we feel cranky. Each time we feel our lungs swell with breath, we could silently and mentally recite the verb watch. Each time we feel our chest sink as it exhales, silently and mentally we could recite the verb rest. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.